every manager's got a favourite player, that guy they can always rely on to do a job no matter what. So today we're going to find out who it is for every Premier League manager and look at the player most used by each Premier League manager during their entire career. Mikel Arteta, David Luiz, Granit Xhaka and Bukayo Saka. Considering Mikel Arteta has only actually been a manager since December last year, he hasn't really had time to pick a favourite player yet. There are 3 Gunners who've played 14 times under Arteta and each one says something different. David Luiz is an experienced pro who's been there and done it all. Granit Xhaka got a second chance under Arteta following his fallout under Emery, while Saka is a young prospect who's been handed loads of opportunities under the new boss. In 10 years time though, I doubt any of these players will be Arteta's most used player. Dean Smith, Romain Sawyers. There are a few players that Dean Smith has had at multiple clubs, and the one he's used the most times is Romain Sawyers. The current West Brom midfielder played under Smith at Walsall and Brentford, making a total of 230 appearances. Sadly for Sawyers, he's yet to ever play in the Premier League, which is where Smith now is with Villa. But depending on what happens in the coming months, Sawyer could win promotion with West Brom, while Smith could take the Villa down. Eddie Howe, Steve Cook. Eddie Howe has climbed the Football League with Bournemouth and he's done with a few loyal soldiers who followed him all the way. But the one who's played the most is Steve Cook, who has made 295 appearances under the young boss. Despite some dodgy own goals and a ridiculous handball, Cook has proven himself at every level under Eddie Howe, which is exactly why he's been such a key component during the Cherries' incredible rise. Graham Potter, Dennis Widgren. Considering Graham Potter has only managed in England in the past 2 years and spent most of his time in Sweden, it's no surprise that his most used player is a guy that, to be honest, I've never even heard of. But Dennis Widgren might not even be saying that right, is a Swedish left back who played 165 times under Potter during his time as Östersund's boss. Was he any good? Honestly couldn't tell you, but he's never played for the Swedish national team and there was no talk of Potter bringing him to England, which perhaps tells you all you need to know. Sean Dyche, me. Yeah, me and Sean go way back. It may be nepotism, but whatever. Oh wait, no, sorry, it's Ben Mee. Whether it's left back or centre back, Ben Mee's been consistent for Sean Dyche. That's why he's never tried to replace the former Man City kid. Ever since Dyche became manager at Turf Moor, Ben Mee's been in the team, and even though he's 30, he'll likely be there for a good few years too. Ashley Barnes is the only current Burnley player who comes close to me, but he's almost 100 appearances behind, showing how much the Burnley boss relies on him. Frank Lampard, Mason Mount. With one season in the Championship and another managing a Champions League club, there hasn't been a lot of crossover in Lampard's 2 teams. But 2 players have played for both Chelsea and Derby under Lampard, Mason Mount and Fikayo Tomori. But it's Mount who's played the most, with 85 appearances. It's clear to see why Lampard's such a big fan of Mount. He's a young English prospect who can score goals from midfield, a bit like himself once upon a time. And considering Mount is still just 21, he could be Lampard's go-to guy for a long time. Providing Abramovich doesn't just do what he normally does and sack the manager at Stamford Bridge. Roy Hodgson, BREDE, HANGELAND. Roy Hodgson has been all over during his career, but his longest spell so far was at Craven Cottage, where he famously took Fulham all the way to the Europa League final. And one reason it was all possible was Norwegian centre-half BREDE HANGELAND. The man Mount was an inspired signing by Hodgson, and he would make a total of 156 appearances under the wily veteran, most of which came in a Fulham shirt. But they first crossed paths in Norway, during what seemed to be a world tour that Roy Hodgson was on once upon a time. Carlo Ancelotti, Filippo Inzaghi. Unsurprisingly, Ancelotti's most used player isn't someone from his Everton days, considering he's only been there about 5 minutes. It's actually a man who followed him from Juventus to AC Milan back in 2001, a goal-scoring giant by the name of Filippo Inzaghi. The Portuguese played 331 times under Ancelotti, and in that time he scored a whopping 161 goals. Ancelotti would probably love someone like Inzaghi right now at Everton considering their goal scoring woes, but he's only just Ancelotti's most used player. Andrea Pirlo, Clarence Seedorf and Gennaro Gattuso have all played more than 300 times for Ancelotti, another 3 players who could still probably do a job at Goodison Park. Brendan Rodgers, Scott Sinclair. For both Swansea and Celtic, Brendan Rodgers was always able to rely on Scott Sinclair, and in turn, Sinclair's always been able to rely on Rodgers. The winger has always played his best football under the current Leicester boss, helping take Swansea to the Premier League, then scoring goal after goal in the green and white of Celtic. In total, Sinclair has played 238 times under Rodgers, but sadly I don't think that tally will ever increase considering he's now in the Championship while Rodgers seems destined for bigger and better things. Jurgen Klopp, Neven Subotic. When it comes to Liverpool, Bobby Firmino is Klopp's most used player, which really is no surprise considering how integral he is to the system. but throughout Klopp's career, no one has got more appearances than Neven Subotic, who is 2 games ahead of former goalkeeper Robin Weidenfeller. Subotic followed Klopp from Mainz to Dortmund and played a key role during a luxurious time in Klopp's career. Subotic and Hummels were amazing at the back, but in years to come Firmino should surpass the Serb as Klopp's favourite player. Pep Guardiola, Lionel Messi. I mean, if I had Lionel Messi in my squad, I'd pick him the most as well. During Pep's time as Barcelona boss, he picked the greatest player of all time 219 times, making 11 more appearances than Dani Alves and Xavi. But to be honest, it's only a matter of time before Messi is replaced as Pep's go-to guy, with Raheem Sterling just 36 games behind the iconic number 10. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Vegard Forren. I don't really understand Vegard Forren's career. He's had 3 spells with Mulder, with moves to Brighton and Southampton sandwiched in between where he didn't play a single minute. But Forren is a Mulder veteran, and during Solskjaer's time there he played 175 times. Who knows, maybe it's the pair will reunite in the future when Man United are desperate for a centre-back, or maybe it's just when Ole gets the sack and returns to Norway. Steve Bruce, Ahmed El Mohammadi. This is no surprise whatsoever. Steve Bruce has always been a big fan of the Egyptian right back. He had him at Sunderland, he had him at Aston Villa, he's also had him at Hull City. To be honest, I was very surprised he didn't bring him to Newcastle last summer as well. Christ, that would have been sad. But anyway, Elmo's played 285 times under Bruce, a lot more than any other player on this planet. What an honour. Daniel Farke, CHRISTOPHZIMMERMAN. If CHRISTOPHZIMMERMAN hadn't had injury bother this season, he'd likely have even more appearances under Farke, and Norwich might actually be doing a bit better. The big German's played 155 times under Farke for both Norwich City and the Borussia Dortmund reserves. Chris Wilder, Jake Wright. Across 3 different clubs, 34-year-old Jake Wright has played 208 times under Chris Wilder for Halifax Town, Oxford United and then finally for Sheffield United. Sadly for him, his time as a Blade came to an end in January, but to be honest he was never going to play for Wilder again, regardless of how much the current manager loves picking right. Ralph Hasenhutl, Robert LECHLEITER. This is a player from Hasenhüttl's early days as a manager, back when he was just getting started in Germany. LECHLEITER played under Hasenhüttl for 2 clubs who I can barely pronounce, but I'll have a go, Unterhaching and Aalen. In 109 appearances under the Saints boss, LECHLEITER scored 33 goals and provided 26 assists, which is pretty impressive to be honest. It'll be a while before anyone replaces him in top spot, as the most picked Southampton player is James Ward-Prowse, and he's only got 57 appearances under Hasenhüttl. Jose Mourinho, Ricardo Carvalho. During Jose Mourinho's early days as a manager, one of his key players in the trenches alongside him was Ricardo Carvalho. Mourinho's teams were disciplined, smart and savvy, which is exactly how you could describe Ricardo Carvalho as well. Across 3 different clubs, Carvalho has made 292 appearances under Jose Mourinho, all at elite level, which says a lot about how good the defender actually was under the special one. Nigel Pearson, Andy King. Nigel Pearson is a manager who laid the foundations for Leicester to win the title, and Andy King is a player who did the same. King played 219 times in a Leicester shirt while Nigel Pearson was manager, and that was definitely the best spell of his career. King will always be known as a Premier League winner, but his best days were definitely in the build-up under Nigel Pearson. David Moyes, Leon Osman. While you might think that Marouane Fellaini would be Moyes' most used player because of his time at Everton and Man United, the Belgians only made 193 appearances under the Scot, with 10 players boasting more. Top of the pile is Leon Osman though, who played a whopping 343 times during David Moyes' time as Everton manager. That's the highest number of appearances in this video, which tells us, well, it tells us that David Moyes thought Leon Osman was a good player and really reliable. That's about it really. And finally, Nuno Espirito Santo, Diogo Jota. Nuno often doesn't spend long at a team, that's why all of his most used players come from his current spell at Molineux. And top of the list is Diogo Jota, who's made a total of 158 appearances under Nuno. That's a pretty sizable number considering this is just his 3rd season with the club, but Jota has been the man for every occasion. Championship, Premier League, Cup competitions, even the Europa League, Jota has been Nuno's go-to guy, even more than captain Conor Cody. So there we have it, that is every Premier League manager's most used player throughout their entire careers. Let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to HITC Sport. You can follow me on Twitter, I'm at HITCJames. Keep tuning into the channel for videos every day during these testing times, but until next time, we will see you around.